Welcome to the show. Now, Norma is a Venezuelan attorney, and we wanted to bring her on the show because she has a unique perspective, and a perspective that I think folks need to hear about, and that is a perspective of what happened in Venezuela. So we've asked Norma to come on and share a little bit of her story about what she experienced in Venezuela, why she left, and what she sees happening in our own country today.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation to your show.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we're glad to have you here, Norma.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about, you left Venezuela a little over 20 years ago. Is that right?
No, it was more than maybe 30-some years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I went back.
But you went back,
to continue
okay.
studying law, and then I came back to.
Okay. Well, tell us about what you saw happening in the late 90s in Venezuela and why you left the second time.
Well, in the 90s, Hugo Chavez was elected president of Venezuela. After he was telling everybody that he was a Democrat, that he believed in the republic and he was not going to change anything. Right after he was elected, he came on television and he says, "I am a Marxist-Leninist." But at that time, he was trying to change the Constitution, and I was at the university at that time, and I was called to help in writing the new Constitution. So I wanted to be there. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be part of that elite group. So I went and accepted the invitation. We were working day and part of the night trying to finish with these amendments and reforms of the Constitution. And every time we want to take everything we have working on, Chavez would come back and change it. Because he wanted the Constitution for a man, for himself, not for a country. That's when I understood what was going on and how dangerous he was. And effectively, the Constitution passed, and he started working towards making our republic into a socialist country.
Yeah,
and he did. And it took only 20 years to destroy completely the country. He started disarming the population. You know how socialists are.
Yeah.
You can tell what are the steps or what is the next step they are going to take in order to get socialism in the country.
And so, they always start with disarming the population, don't they?
Always. He says, you don't need guns. You don't need weapons. We will protect you.
Yeah.
And if you didn't want to give your guns away, they will offer you money. And if you still didn't want the money, then they will put you in jail. Because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. They control the population through hunger first, and then fear. That's what they do with the people. And he started that, and step by step, like everything that Castro did in Cuba.
Yeah.
We knew what was coming, and people started leaving the country because they knew that there was no way to stop this crazy guy. And poor people were happy because they were getting food, medication, everything for free.
Right.
Because he started that way. But we knew that was going to be for a short period of time, which it was. Right now, people are starving to death, and more than 6 million people have left the country already. So it doesn't take very long for a country to get completely destroyed if communism, you should know that communism and socialism is the same.
Yeah.
It's just one little step from socialism to communism. And it didn't take any time. It destroyed the country. People left, still live in the country, and there is nothing we can do. People ask me, for example, but why don't people go out and fight? And it's so difficult for me to explain how those criminal minds work, how they have disarmed the population. And if a person is looking every day to find something to eat, they have nothing else in their mind.
Right.
How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to just keep my family alive? They don't care about anything else. So there is no way that the people in Venezuela can go and fight and get their country back.
Yeah.
And it's their mind, the brainwashing they have been teaching them for 20 years. Right now, if you talk to a person, it's like the Cubans. You talk to them and they lower their voice.
Yeah, right.
When they talk about, because they are scared.
Well, they have to be careful. Their neighbors might turn them in for saying something against the regime, whether it's even true or not true.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what these types of governments and regimes, that's what they engender, is everybody turning against each other. And, we see some of the parallels starting here in our own country of that kind of a thing. One, we see them talking about giving free stuff. That's their model.
That's the first thing they do.
Right.
You're going to have free education.
Free
you're going to
food.
have free food. You're going to have everything for free. You don't have to worry. We are going to provide for everything. You don't have to worry about that. So people believe that.
Yeah.
Because people want, that's what most of the people want.
Well, they want something for nothing, right? But there's no free lunch. You can't get something for nothing. And the nothing comes later. The nothing comes within about 10 years, and the entire country can be destroyed.
Norma, I have read stories about people from Venezuela and the comparisons they make and saying, you know what, this feels like before things turned in our country here in the United States. Now, Morgan just alluded to one comparison, the promise of free things. Any other things that you see are similar? What stands out to you?
Disarming the population. They have already talked. And when Biden comes on television and he says, I am going to lift the sanctions in Venezuela and Cuba, what is that? What does it say to you? Mm-hmm. We immediately know that there is a red flag right there. And offering things that they cannot provide for people.
Right.
There is no way that you can get free education and free health care and free everything. Who's going to pay for that? We are. We have to pay for that. But people don't understand it. And they always talk about social justice. Remember those words. Social justice. By the people and for the people. The people is the party.
Right.
It's not the people. So when you think that they are talking to you, they're not talking to you. In a socialist country, what happened is men don't have any value. The value of people is what they can do for the revolution. If you cannot do anything for the revolution, we don't need you. You either leave the country or disappear.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anything for you. You have to provide for the revolution. We offer you, but you have to do it. We don't have to do anything. And whatever you produce is going to come to us. In Venezuela, and as you know, the richest country in Latin America, with the biggest oil reserve in the world, more than Canada, Mexico, and the United States combined, right now, people are starving to death.
Right.
Why? How could this happen in only 20 years? Simple. People believe in all those promises. When you listen to Kamala or whatever, La Mala, we call it in Spanish.
The bad one.
The bad one. When we listen to her speaking, we know what she's thinking. We know where she's going to take this country. Because the problem I may not have too much problem with Biden. He's an old guy and he's senile or whatever. He doesn't worry. I don't worry about him. But I worry about Kamala because she's the second in command. And she will be the president of the United States if they win. That means I'm going to have another Venezuela. I'm going to have another Cuba. We have it. We, the United States, the most powerful country in the world, have not been able to help Cuba or Venezuela. We try to help, yes. We spend money. But that's not it. Yeah. We just want to get rid of the system, of the regime. And we haven't been able to do it.
Well, what was life like in Venezuela before Chavez came to power?
Well, I just have to tell you that it was the richest country in Latin America. And at one point in time, our money was stronger than the dollar. Now you can, with only 25, 26 million people. And the richest country, we were all rich. We didn't know we were rich, but I didn't know that there were people in other places starving to death because I was in Venezuela.
Yeah,
it was different. We didn't need anything, and seeing and facing that evil and seeing what happened to a country, it's going to happen here. If we don't fight it, and if we don't get President Trump elected, we are going to have it here.
Well, and I want to talk to you some about a speech that you gave to the Fighters Against Socialism bus tour that I saw you give that was just fantastic a few weeks ago with Don Jr. when we come back. But the parallels that you described to what you see happening in our country today and what you saw in Venezuela are really frightening. We'll be right back on The Morgan Streetman Show. Thank you for listening to The Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.